All right, we're going to start off with the song and on in, and then hopefully we'll wrong one. As people are coming on. Let's see how far we get. There's like 30 more exhibits that I need to see.
It's hard to have a Brandon of being a good person, 'cause the higher the pedestal, the harder the fall. You craft your reputation, build up walls through speculation. People love the image more than the real person. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Who are you when the spotlight's gone? Can you look at yourself in the mirror? Who are you when the spotlight's gone? Take a good look in the mirror.
Hey, Jungle, I do sleep. I actually slept over 7 hours today.
Feminism, will you laugh at trauma? That's not your own. You'd beg for people to care about yours. The venting that became the plotting with the means to execute how to destroy his life. Who are you when the spotlight's gone? Can you look at yourself in the mirror? Who are you when the spotlight's gone? Take a good look in the mirror. Covert narcissist, sociopath, whisper campaign. Covert narcissist, sociopath, whisper campaign. Who are you when the spotlight's gone? Can you look at yourself in the mirror? Who are you when the spotlight's gone? Take a good look in the mirror. Who are you when the spotlight's gone? Can you look at yourself in the mirror? Who are you when the spotlight's gone? Take a good look in the mirror.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to watch the Seahawks game. So I have a very limited time. I think we can get through the 30 documents, hopefully, by then. What's that? 30 documents. And I'm here for an hour and a half. That's 3 minutes each document, if there's even looking at each document. So, and a lot of this are more like KDK stuff. And so I'm like, it's not as thrilling necessarily. I mean, it might be. I guess I have to look. Oh, I forgot. I didn't switch. I started talking about it, but I switched. Okay. So this one is Katie Case and comes from Katie Case, and it's 1245-150 is on 8-8 to 8-9. So I'm going to put that in my spreadsheet here. 8-8 2024 1245-150. And that is a text as well as 8-9. You know what? I think Hollywood misses the days when they really did a bunch of junk behind people's backs and nobody ever found out. Like, they're like, thanks, Blake. Now everybody knows we do stuff. She really blew the lid off of everything. Makes it harder for all of the other Hollywood folks to be like privately like a mess. Anyways, so this is from Katie Case. She says, Katie says, I'm on with Jamie. Brianna said, just you. I don't know if he could cease and desist if that girl is posting about something she heard. Katie says, yes, I can merge someone and please. Brianna said, they also have to expect some people will speculate from a less than favorable standpoint. Brianna said, yes. Katie says, thank you so much, Bree. Wouldn't ask it on anyone else. But if I say one thing, they'll disagree. LOL. Brianna said, of course, that was simple. They're starting to overthink. Katie said, I agree. And I said what you said, but LOL, just sent them some language. Thank you, Bree. Good morning. When we're done with this, so that now it's now it's August 9th. So it's a day later. Katie says, good morning. When we're done with this, and then redacted, and how your call went with Leslie. Brianna said, yes, please. Any new movement on JB updates from Sarah? Leslie, so we can keep across. Katie said, I'd like to start prepping materials if he's going to be obliterated on Sunday. LOL. Yes, agree. So we can prepare heading into weekend, said Brianna. So there were expectations that Justin was going to be obliterated on Sunday. So Sunday, okay, so if August 8th was a Thursday, then, okay, August 8th is a Thursday, 9, 10, 11. So they were expecting Justin Baldoni to be obliterated on August 11th. I wonder why. I wonder what kind of information they had that knew that they were going to try to, like, things were going to come out to try to obliterate Justin Baldoni. Or, okay, got it. I know exactly what it is. I forgot about it. So what had happened is the whole Daily Mail leak situation had happened, and then Leslie was trying to get that kiboshed, and then the Daily Mail was going to still run their story on the 9th. And at that point, I think Leslie was like, you need to run your story to Sarah Nathan. Sarah Nathan would have needed to print that story by Saturday, I think, which means that if people got it on Saturday, they read it on a Sunday maybe or whatever. Anyways, then Justin could be potentially obliterated. Potentially. Jungle said because Ryan was trying to make a statement. That wasn't until the 12th, which would have been a Monday. And I don't know if they knew that they could have. I don't know who's their like people that would tell them stuff. So it's a possibility. Also, hold on. Is my camera working? I don't know. Anyways, it's funny how they were fishing for evidence of a smear campaign and it was their own texts and emails the whole time. Yeah. Alt Gen X. Yeah. Melissa says, Casey, is there any way you can do this? Redacted call without me. I just want to make sure redacted. The message is redacted. Katie said, yes, what time is it at? They didn't send me the invite. And then Melissa gave a Zoom invite. And Katie said, thank you. Is it right now? Melissa says 11 a.m. Katie said, okay, I have redacted. Call them regarding our strategy, but can let Alex lead that. Melissa said, oh, crap. Katie said, it's fine. I trust her to lead. Melissa says, let me think. No, because I know that redacted probably needs you on it as well. I don't even know. And just to let folks know, whenever there's redactions happening, that has nothing to do with Wayfair. They're talking about other clients in these in these chats. That's why it's interspersed with redacted things. Katie K says, it'll be fine. It's good for Alex. And I'll catch up with her afterwards. We've got some great updates redacted already. So it'll be good overall. I've approved the plan and have signed off on everything. So again, I really trust Alex to do this. And then Melissa has, I don't know. It seems Melissa doesn't have a vote of confidence for Alex. Maybe Alex is pretty new in the business, but Melissa Nathan looks a little bit worried at the idea that Alex was going to take the lead on that. Melissa said, also, I really have some updates on Justin, but I'd rather do it when Brianna is out so we can get on the phone or together. Oh, interesting. Katie said, that's so disappointing. But yes, Brianna, when you're done, call us and we can chat. Yes, just wrapping up here. Did Daily Mail not come for comment? I also think apart from another longer story, he leaks text from her saying she didn't read the book and hates Colleen's dialogue and give to Oh! Y'alls, do you read that? They haven't leaked that yet. They haven't shown us these texts yet. That means there are text messages that's going to prove that Colleen hated what Blake Lively was writing, which is not so surprising. I mean, her writing was cringy. So I'm not surprised, but wow. They were thinking of leaking texts showing that she didn't read the book, which we knew, and hates Colleen's dialogue and give it to TMZ. Hi, I'm maladaptive, my lady. I am back just until I have to go to watch the Seahawks game. Jungle said Colleen leaking. I mean, Colleen did leak, but it's wild to think about the fact that they have text messages that I don't think we've seen yet. If they would have had to provide this in discovery, so that means we're going to see somewhere, unless they decided not to put it as part of the evidence. But why not? Of Colleen hating the dialogue. About Blake Lively. Oh no, it's Blake Lively hating Colleen's dialogue. The other way around. I misread that. Is Blake hating Colleen's dialogue? Not Colleen hating Blake's dialogue. Sorry, my bad. I had to reread that. But still, I don't think we've seen that. Have we seen that yet? Tell me, folks, if you've been. I'm coming from I'm still working through all of these documents, so I don't think I've read that yet myself. So I'm looking forward to it. Maladaptive said, but this movie was supposed to be for women, by women, which is why they wanted Justin out. Enter Ryan Reynolds. Karina said, Bocce, have you seen the text about Nice Pool anywhere? No, because I don't think Nice Pool is important to the case. It would have been important maybe to Justin and Wayfarer's case against Blake and company, but their case got dismissed. So it's not central to her case. Maladaptive said, never heard of this before. Yeah, me neither. That's why I'm looking forward to maybe seeing those texts that shows that Blake and I think that's probably in the Blake Lively text messages that are coming out that still needs to be delivered to the courts. April said, hey, Bocce and chat fam. Hey. Okay, so then Katie said, yes, 100. Melissa says, still on phone. Brianna said, anything. Melissa shares redacted. Katie Case shares an attachment. Katie said, thank the Lord for Jed. Brianna said, thank God. Melissa has something redacted. And then Brianna said, is the Justin thing a priority for tonight? Sarah's piece isn't good, but we don't know if there's a strategy to put something fresh out from his end this weekend or Monday. So, Sarah's piece ended up being better because I think they were able to put in the perspective of Justin's team into the article at the tail end of it, I think. Min XIV7 said, I truly hope Justin appeals. I hope so too. I think there's enough proof of exactly what they did. Jungle said, knowing how full of rage Ryan is, that killing of Nice Pool takes on more sinister tones. Imagine him raging after you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we look back at any of Ryan Reynolds' movies that he wrote stuff in, you could probably see his vendetta against certain people. Like the things that he hates about people, he put it in his movies. Maladaptive, but he's never been so brazen as to create a whole character before, I think. Well, no, that's not true. I think they said that they think that he may have done one for The Rock. Maladaptive said, I wonder how Colleen feels about this. I hope she sees how manipulated she was, and I hope she apologizes to Justin. That man cared more about her book than she did. That's true. April said, I do wonder if their faith will be a blocker for them suing. Like, it seems like an offensive action versus defensive, and I don't know if that's encouraged. I mean, it depends, I suppose, how you read certain teachings of theirs, I suppose. Glorilla 8 said they can't use anything they found out in this lawsuit in the appeal, though. Oh, they can't? Any new information that they didn't have before? That they couldn't utilize? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Oh, no, they cannot. Well, that's bummer. Whitney in the Garden said, hello, gorgeous humans. I appreciate these lives as I need a distraction from the effed up United States government. Whoo, I feel you, Whitney. K la 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 la. Oh wait, no, I think I may have done too many laws there. K la la la. 89 said, if you look at RR's body language during the premiere, he looked angry. I think he looked angry. All right, so I get lost in the sauce reading people's comments, and I'm like, okay, look, I have less than 2 hours to be on here. And so I'm like, I better skedaddle because that's now we have 29 more or something to look at. Okay, so then this is Katie Case. Let's see if this is an email. If it's not, I'm not gonna. What is this? It's a Daily Mail broke a story saying Blake calling Justin abusive. I don't buy it. I think it's a way for her to get more control and attention of the movie. Sadly, it won't work. His work in the past is well known. Now they took a picture of that. I don't know why. Should we look up those folks to see if they're real? Are they trying to say that maybe these were bots or what? But it's hard to check who in the world these folks are because there's no at to look up. So I have no idea anyway how to find them. Okay, then we have Katie Case. Again. Rachel, you're coming in a little bit late, I think. And so I don't know if you heard that there's some sort of text messages that shows that Blake Lively hated Colleen's dialogue or whatever. Or do they mean Colleen's? Maybe they meant Christy Hall. I feel like Katie Case put Colleen when she meant Christy Hall. But either way, we have not seen. I don't think I've seen those text messages. Have you seen it, Rachel? Because they were thinking at that time of leaking those text messages that show what Blake Lively was saying behind Colleen's back. But my question is, was it Colleen or Christy Hall? I feel like because Colleen's dialogue, like, was she? I mean, the screenwriter is who she kept putting down. I feel like they might. I don't know. Maybe Katie Case is right. Maybe Katie Case is wrong. I don't know. But I feel like who she would have been putting down would have been Christy Hall. And that's why I also don't think Christy Hall is involved in this whatsoever. I think she got utterly disrespected by Blake Lively. I think a lot of people that worked got disrespected by Blake Lively because she said, I did everything. I was even HR. All right. So Brianna Butler says, we need to speak with the PR team on this ASAP. I thought they were going to be on as well. Brianna goes on to say, longer lead stories need to be pitched soon, I think. And Katie said, I think so too. And it's okay. This will be helpful. Brianna said, I don't know if she was just saying this, but Melissa Nathan told Colleen Hoover, Justin is really blowing up. But it may have been to get out of 4 p.m. call with this Rob Wade guy from Fox. Have you heard anything more? Sorry. CH is not Colleen Hoover. That's got to be Caroline Hurley. Carolina Hurley. I keep forgetting that Carolina Hurley or Christy Hall. No, that's got to be Carolina Hurley. Right? MN told CH. What if, remember how they said that Miss Lissa Nathan knew that CH was, that Colleen Hoover was leaking things to something or other? What if she thought it was Colleen Hoover when it was actually Carolina Hurley? Wouldn't that be wild if they misrepresented that? I don't know. That's really interesting to me. Because there's so many CH. It could be Colleen Hoover. It could be Christy Hall. It could be Carolina Hurley. It's like, what makes sense in this context, you know? Tiffany, I've only been live for less than 20 minutes, but I also can't stay long because I'm going to watch the Seahawks play. Because we're going to see if we could get to the Super Bowl. So we'll see how it goes. You know what I realized? Somebody had said to me, like, hey, maybe you could just still do lives, because I wasn't doing lives because I was doing a lot of research, right? Carolina Hurley works for TAG. So at first I was like, I can't do lives because I'm doing research. But then I was like, you know what? Why can't I do research with y'all's? I mean, I think you like to see how the sausage what is made, right? Like, you know, I can do my work of like researching something with y'all's and then make my video, you know? So you not only do you get the making of the behind the scenes making of it, then you'll see the final product. So it's not always going to be like that, but I was like, that's the only way I can still do lives with the amount of research I usually have to do. Tiffany said, I love hanging out while you research. You hang with me all day running errands and doing chores. And I love that for you. I genuinely do. There's two things I really, really love. One, knowing that I'm helping people do their errands and chores by listening to me. And the other is like when people introduce me to their family. Like someone had told me that their toddler, and tell me if you're in the space here. Sorry if I couldn't remember. There's so many people sometimes, and I apologize. I wish I could remember everybody, like when somebody tells me something. But someone told me their toddler sings my song Poison and loves the song Poison. That makes me so happy. It really does. All right. What does she mean Justin is really blowing up? I don't know if she was saying this, but Melissa Nathan told CH. Okay, is CH. Now, mind you, we saw this text message with Colleen Hoover where she's talking about that she talked to Justin's PR. So did she talk to Melissa Nathan? So is this about Colleen Hoover? Because I recall Colleen saying something about talking to talking to the PR person of Justin or something, and she's talking to Ryan Reynolds. I feel like I remember. Huh. And Brianna sends some sort of attachment, and Katie said, "Wait, why? WTF?" I'd actually say the tide is shifting sentiment-wise. Plus, the movie's out today. People will see it and move on. If the amount of times that Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan throughout this whole process would say, people are moving on. People are moving on. People are moving on. Oh, little did they know. Little did they know. Plus the movie's out today. People will see it and move on if it's what's happening with Don't Worry. If it's and move on. It's what's happening with Don't Worry, Darling. Exactly. So they feel like this was Blake Lively's tactic to do a Don't Worry, Darling thing, which again was part of the Rolling Stones. So was that putting the Rolling Stones because of Brianna and Katie, or was that really, it seemed like it came from a crew member. A crew member felt that way. So that's interesting, but it was kind of a Don't Worry flair. Don't Worry, Darling flair. It definitely gave that vibe. Joe Raz says, when I go over to help my mom clean and or cook, we listen to you. Now I have my mom invested. She has it on before I walk in the door. That is so sweet. Please say hi to your mom for me. That is so nice. I love that. Karina says, yes, I did all my housework listening to you. I love that. Oh my word. It's just so interesting. It's what's happening with Don't Worry, Darling, which I really do feel like it gave that vibe. Yeah. And oh, that's true, Liz. Liz says, to be fair, people did eventually move on, but then everything blew up again. I mean, it blew up because of the New York Times article, 100%. Jim says, I'm cleaning out my closet right now. I love it. Okay, Brianna Butler said, exactly. Katie says, another great example to use for SWAT. Katie K says, okay, 12 p.m. on Friday, and we have no insight about a potential crisis on Sunday morning. Brianna said, I know. Also to Jed's voice note, was he given the direction to back end this online as all part of marketing? I don't know if that's super strong. At this point, I'm done caring about the 17 different spins we could do. But he seems to be moving forward on positioning this as a brilliant marketing scheme, which I don't really know if that would be so brilliant. I mean, whatever. Interesting. Okay, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Is it Souk Moneycore? 1857 said, I'm washing dishes and doing laundry. I love it. I don't know what it is about me that enjoys knowing like what kind of errands y'all are doing. Like I find it so fascinating. Okay, so I know also to Jed's voice note was he's given the direction to back end this online. Okay, he's given the direction. Okay, he's been given the direction, like I would think that's Jamie, right? Who would be giving Jed direction? Right? Who would be giving Jed direction but Jamie? They don't say Jamie's name, but I know also to Jed's voice note was he was given the direction to back end this online as all part of marketing. I don't know if that's super strong. At this point, I'm done caring about the 17 different spins. And I love how she chooses the word 17. And I don't know if that's her kind of doing a tongue in cheek of the 17-point side agreement and saying that that was just Blake Lively doing a spin. I don't know, but that's kind of a genius. 17 different spins, she says here. 17 different spins we could do, but he seems to be moving forward on positioning this as a brilliant marketing scheme, which I don't really know if that would be brilliant, be so brilliant. I mean, whatever. Okay, Katie says, I disagree. That's the best move, to be honest, because I almost want to play into the Blake and Ryan overextended themselves narrative. But I'm also at the point where I don't care. LOL, sorry, but this story is going to... Another wrong assessment. This story is going to run out of steam at 5 p.m. today. They really did not see this as a crisis. They did not see what Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were capable of. I'm sure they now know. But they underestimated just the scorched earth about them all. So, okay, what are you thinking that they're saying? Are they saying that Jed was told to say on the back end that it was a brilliant marketing scheme by Ryan? Or are they saying that Ryan's been saying that it was a brilliant marketing scheme in the behind the scenes? Goddess Obs said, I went to a Filipino event and told everyone they should follow you because Filipinos will always be blunt, contrary to popular belief. So you'll get the truth immediately. You do a good job. Thank you. The funny thing is, my dad always used to say that Filipinos believe in the smooth interpersonal communication, meaning they they sweep things under the rug, like conflict under the rug, but at the same time they straight up tell you stuff. so it's kind of, it depends on the topic. I think it really depends on the topic. Yeah, it's really hard to tell what they're saying here. I mean, maybe if I continue, but they honestly thought this would be over. They honestly thought this would be over by 5 p.m. on August 9th. That is rich. Not as rich as the lawyers of Blake Lively, but rich. Not as rich as Blake's audacity, but rich. Okay, so Brianna said me too and same. Katie says, which is why we need to know about Sunday, LOL. And then she said F and put a face palm. Finishing up a call, we'll call you right back. And Brianna said, and what our plan of attack is now? Katie said, just tried you back. Brianna said, we didn't miss anything from Daily Mail that had this in it, right? Katie's like, no, we didn't. Is there a chance, knock on wood here, is there a chance that the story gets buried in the deluge? Brianna said, what do you mean? Katie says, there's so many dumb articles about this. Is there a chance no one pays attention to the Daily Mail one? True. Can we just know what the plan is? And he clearly has no idea. Katie says, again, this is the problem. I would actually like to enjoy one weekend, and a bunch of laughing. Brianna said, me too, LOL. Katie says, again, looking at this optimistically, a Friday afternoon amongst all these other articles isn't the worst thing in the world. As we go see this film tonight, LOL. And Katie goes, Brianna said, as we go to see this film tonight, LOL. Katie says, ha, 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 ha. I know. While we have time, LOL, I might start putting together the SWOT chart. Brianna said, an hour plus later, still no info. Katie's like, I know. I wonder if they had just suppressed the link because I can't even find that story. Brianna said, that could be true. But at this point, there has to be counter strategy to enact. Katie's like, you're absolutely correct. No need to play whack-a-mole if we don't need to. And Brianna said, like, this is crazy, LOL, but also whatever, I guess. Katie is like, Brianna said, she just called me I'm on with her. Katie said, do you want to patch me in? You and I have to promise each other to enjoy our evenings. I'm sorry, I'm the third girly pop interrupting your pee. It's so funny how people, they really just love to talk about, no, not love to talk about peeing, but like, it just reminded me of Justin Baldoni's deposition where they took a break and he's like, oh, great, I really needed to pee. Confessions of a Jaded Optimist says maximum effort is so bad of a marketing company that they have to offer their services for free. Yeah, they totally did that with that one like controversial thing that happened on Coldplay or whatever. They ended up doing that thing with Gwyneth Paltrow without even asking their permission. And then when people seem to receive it well, they're like, it was us. We did it. Kind of almost forcing the hand of the company to like, what, pay them? What? Yeah, I mean, if the company didn't ask you to do it, like, I don't know, it's so weird. Brianna says she just says she has to go meet this Warren guy from the ambulance chasing law firm, and then she'll call me. So there's no rush or priority on this tonight, and we should not do anything for this evening if asked last minute. And Katie emphasized that, and she goes, "You're correct," and then sent her some sort of attachment. And Brianna says, "Do you think there was a F up somewhere that she's not telling us?" And Katie sends an attachment. And Brianna said, I'm dead at blading and texting. Katie sends another an audio message. Oh, I guess these were audio messages that she was saying. So she was sending voice notes. And Brianna said, no, that she did maybe. I just find the whole thing so odd that we aren't reacting. Okay, and then Katie did an audio message. Okay, so for them, they were like, why are we not responding? Why are we not responding? This is so weird. This is so odd. Let's not. Why are we not responding to things? So, I mean, that's kind of what I feel like Wayfarer requested, to not respond to things. Y'all's, I'm looking at the time and I'm like, how has this time? It's already been half an hour. And I'm like, oh, great. There's no way I'm going to finish this before the Seahawks game. Because I was like, maybe I could get all 30 done, but I don't think so. 8/13/2024, 12:45, 1:53. This is for 13 and 14. So that's, oh, whoops, wrong place. Delete. Over here, 8/13, insert row, 8/13, 2024, 12:45. 1:53, and it is a text. And then 8/14, 2024, 12:45, 1:53. It is text right there. Okay, let's see what it says. I thought these were going to be kind of boring, but they're not. They're actually interesting. They have some stuff that is kind of important to know. Just even how they were feeling about everything. Okay, so this is 8/13, 8/14. As a reminder, this is after the gloves will come off conversation. Hot Messy Express, go Hawks. Thank you. Go Hawks. All right. Dervla sends the article about the crisis PR situation. And Dervla goes, Melissa, and then it's like alarm. Okay. Riley has a redacted. Katie says it's not bad. Alex says it's very basic. Brianna said a lot of regurgitation. Katie said, it's also like, okay, who cares? Alex says, it's not a story. Riley says, and question mark, like, oh, of course he hired PR for this. He's being attacked publicly. He brought on an expert to help. Dervla emphasized that. So did Katie Case. And also emphasized that it's not a story. Melissa said, breaking my nervous breakdown to send you this. Okay, so here's the thing. This is the question I have for y'all. We have text messages showing that Melissa Nathan knew this article was coming. It's clear that the rest of her team did not. Don DeVito said, Bocce, are you near Seattle? I was just there for a retreat in October. I am a Washingtonian. So definitely rooting for my Seahawks here. Even though I haven't had a chance to really watch this season, which is wild because back in the day, you would never catch me missing a game. But a lot of stuff changed for me in my life in the last few years that has affected that for me. Obviously, losing my friend, and him and I would always watch these games together. So it kind of feels weird to even be watching these games without him, but it is what it is. I say that so flippantly, but I don't actually feel flippant about what I just said. Anyways, but I'm not going to think too much about it because every time I think too much about it, I start crying, which I'm not going to do. So Tiffany says, who are the Seahawks playing? The Rams. I will cheer for them just for you. The Seahawks, hopefully. Yes, please cheer for the Seahawks. So anyways, the interesting thing is that we know that Melissa Nathan knew this article was going to be coming out. We know that Melissa did try to do damage control and try to keep it as basic as possible, right? But it looks like her team didn't know. Because they alerted her, like, oh my word, red alert, they're writing about you. So it is the question of, does Melissa Nathan withhold information from folks, even the ones that should know this information? Like, is there a reason why she kept her own team in the dark about this? I mean, it seems like she's keeping them in the dark because it seems like they're trying to tell her this. And she says, breaking my nervous breakdown to send you this. Now, mind you, I do think she was nervous because she's not the one that leaked it. No matter how much the deposition tried to, with Justin Baldoni, tried to paint it like she leaked it to the Hollywood Reporter, it is clear her friend leaked it to a friend who leaked it to his wife, who then told Pamela from the Hollywood Reporter. And then Melissa tried to do damage control. Now, mind you, the weird thing is, and I need to find this, there was a text that her friend sent her that was almost verbatim what Ryan Reynolds said. That almost, I mean, I don't know if I've gone to the place where I'm a little bit suspicious of everybody. But I was like, why did her friend say this thing that I'm very sure that I read Ryan Reynolds put in his text message? So I almost got, what if Melissa Nathan thought it was her friends that accidentally did it? Because she definitely planted it in Justin's mind that like she wasn't the one that did it and she didn't plant it. And she didn't. She really didn't. But her friend did, and I thought she was covering for her friend. But what if it was always planted? But I don't know. There's not enough proof to say that. But it's just kind of interesting. I don't know. I keep playing back in my head. So let me see. Maybe she'll give us a hint that she actually did tell them something. Riley said, laughter breaking my nervous breakdown to send you this. She goes, Katie says, this is going to be my standard reply from now on. We've literally seen it. Riley said, laughed. And Alex said, laughed. And Melissa said, deadline running. Alex says, KK, Riley, can you keep watch, please? Riley, yes. And then Riley put up the Cosmopolitan article about it. And Melissa said, oh, F off. Okay, so here's the thing. I do think that Melissa tried very hard to limit the damage on the Hollywood Reporter article. And one of the things that she says is just in the trades. It's just in the trades. It's not in the gossip thing. It shouldn't pick, like basically in her mind, it should not pick up steam. It shouldn't go beyond the trades conversation. So the fact that it went into gossip, that I think that's why she was freaking out. Like, oh, like, so I actually genuinely don't believe that she's the one that leaked it. But I am a little suspicious about the wording that her friend said in the text message. I still do have questions around that. Ellen, is it Ellen? ELENDASSIOU 8484. It says it's over 7K now. What's over 7K? Oh, the GoFundMe to remove Blake Lively's PGA mark. Yeah, I don't know how much I don't know how many it's going to be interesting. I don't know what the PGA will do. Melissa said, yeah, OF off. Alex says, Riley, let's flag, not on this chat, LOL. Alex says, Mel, if there's anything to worry or flag to you, we will. And then Melissa sends an Instagram post, and Alex says, all she talks about is the floral outfit she's wearing. Every post on her IG, one after the other. And Katie emphasized that, and then sent another Instagram and says, Katie says, flowers. Alex says, just got a flash flood warning on my TV, LOL. As I look out at the legit ocean next to my door. And Katie Case put a bunch of dots, and then Alex put a TMZ article. Carolina has a whole bunch of things redacted. Brianna has a whole bunch of things redacted. Carolina has a whole bunch of things redacted. It says OMG, question mark, and then Alex redacted. And then Alex says, Melissa, perhaps we should do a team call at some point this afternoon. Melissa said, just on with Jamie and Jen. And she goes, yes. Alex says, okay, great. Riley, can you find a time that works for everyone? Let's shoot for earlier rather than later. And Riley says, can we do 11:30 a.m. PT or 1 p.m. PT? Dervla like that. Melissa said, I think 11:30 a.m. PT. Alex says 11:30 a.m. Riley says, great, Derv. Just updated team invite. Melissa said, depends on how this AM goes also. Riley says, KK, we will just hold that time for now. Alex has a bunch of things redacted. Melissa said, I know if these people let me get off the phone ever to do some other work. Alex goes, let you know how we can help, or if you just want to merge any of us into calls to take notes, etc. Melissa said, no, they only want the chief, Katie. Alex says, I can also make my way to your room in this storm and take notes while you're on calls if you need. And Katie laughed about, I know if these people let me get off the phone. And Katie said, and emphasized that. Katie says, Melissa, Chief Nathan. Melissa sends some sort of attachment, and she says, on with TMZ. Melissa said, I do think SJ is placing. And Brianna said, what is TMZ saying? They've done 3 pieces on this in 12 hours. Riley says, emphasized, that last post. And Dervla shared another TMZ post. Katie says, now we go to war. Brianna, let's chat about this. Alex goes, oh, LOL. Brianna goes, yes, MN, please call us. We need Jet 2. Melissa said, 1 second. Brianna said, the fat shaming part isn't bad as has our explanation. And then Dervla emphasized that. Brianna has a bunch of redaction. Melissa says, I'm free in 15 minutes. Brianna, okay. RL, can you join to take notes? Riley says yes. And then a bunch of redactions for her. And then she said, here, if you take a quick look before hopping on. And then Alex and Katie and Dervla, they're talking about a bunch of other content that's not about the Wayfarer folks. They're talking about other clients, stuff that's got to be redacted. And then Melissa sends some sort of attachment, and Katie says, yes, this was in my IG Reels feed this AM. And Brianna said, OMG, this is amazing. We should send to Jed, right? And Alex says, was this flagged? Then a bunch of redacted things again. And Brianna said, please, please, the whole document I put together. Dervla said, Zoe, sending now. Alex says, the only emails acceptable from here on out. And then Dervla, Carolina, that's the same place as our boy. Yada, yada. I don't know if any of these things matter. I don't know, because there's a lot of redactions. Brianna Butler said, I love how he's 24 hours late to the game. Don't know who they're talking about who he's talking about. There's a lot of things that I don't think is important to us necessarily, because they're talking a lot of about other people, other clients that they have. That's why it's so redacted. I'm not sold that any of these things has to do with Justin Baldoni. Yeah, okay. None of that was really. A lot of it was more so talking about other clients. What's this? Is this Hudson or Shapiro? Now I'm not quite sure because I'm like I mean I feel like they're the ones that are trying to create they're trying to basically say there is a precedent, like they have a pattern of doing this, therefore they must have done it in the Blake Lively case. Okay. And 8 and 9. $12.45, $1.54. And that's a text. Okay, so let's see what this is. Yep. There's no way I'm going to get through all the things I was hoping for. I mean, it always takes me longer because I do read these things instead of like just opening them. Sometimes I just open them if it's not what I'm looking for. Okay, this is again them talking. Let's see if there's more that's actually about Justin Baldoni. Okay, Katie said, is that Jenna Redfield girl is the one who said she has ties to studios, or is that another one? Dervla said, Sophie Moon Scout. Katie said, got it. Thank you. Katie says, can we keep a super close eye out on further mentions of this? And Katie puts the story about the My Last Day situation. Katie says, it's obviously BS, but we can't let this spread. And Dervla said yes. And then Dervla shares a Perez Hilton article and then an X account from Scott Mendelson. And Dervla said, Puck reporter responding to the previous tweet. And Katie said, honestly, let them debate amongst themselves, LOL. Zoe shares a TikTok and another TikTok and then says, talks about how Blake is being tone deaf by promoting her hair care brand during this movie about domestic violence. And that is why Justin is taking a back seat, because he doesn't want to be associated and wants to focus on the sensitive topics. And then Zoe shares another TikTok and says, this woman was on set with Justin during 5 Feet Apart and speaks to how wonderful Justin is. And then shares a People magazine article and then shares a Today article. And Katie says, thank you. Zoe said, I can do a roundup after I make an agenda for Redacted. She goes, oh, oops, just saw Dervla's email. I can do the roundup now. And Zoe did, there's a Spotify link that she provided and said, I can listen later, and then sent the tab. And so said, and Katie says, don't worry, I'm listening. And Zoe sends a Daily Mail article. And then there's an article she sends that's redacted, most likely means that it's for another client. Alex says, great flag, thank you. And then Brianna said, Daily Mail and Company. That, Daily Mail's link. And Brianna said, please keep watch. And Zoe liked that. And then Zoe sent an Uprocks article and a Page 6 one. And Katie says, thanks. Any pickup on the Daily Mail piece, particularly language that Justin was chauvinistic, etc. Zoe shared a Today article and said, I haven't seen any pickup yet, but I will keep looking. And Katie says, thank you. And Zoe shares a Daily Beast article. And Katie says, thanks. Still nothing regarding the bad stuff, right? And Zoe said, nope. I'll just Reddit and X right now, but nothing in the media. Katie said, wait, sorry, that stuff is just on Reddit and X, or is also not on Reddit or X? Zoe said, no, I just need to check Reddit and X again. Katie said, oh, phew. Okay, phew. Zoe said, sorry. And Katie said, don't be. And then Zoe sends things that are redacted and then sends one from X. And she said, who is this man? LOL. Brianna said, I was just going to ask LOL, but 30K followers. Okay. Now you make me want to look. Okay. You make me want to look. I don't know who this person is either, but now you're going to make me look. Now you're gonna make me look. Who is this person? Oh, the page doesn't exist. Boo. Okay, but what about the person itself? Does the person still exist? The person still exists. Okay. Is a film TV critic and content creator on the John Rocha or whatever channel and host of Geek Buddies and Hot Mic. Wait a minute. I know I know that. Oh, is this the same guy that I thought at first did the anti-Baha'i post for some reason? But I couldn't. But I didn't know why. But I'm not saying he did. So I shouldn't have even said that. But out loud. But there was something I had seen with the way he wrote, and I was like, does this remind us of like whatever? And I think he followed like I think he was following like Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Okay, I got lost in the sauce there for a second. No, not hot mics with Billy Bush. No, that's not who it is. Who is this man? LOL. I was just Brianna said I was just going to ask. LOL, but 30K followers. I have no. Zoe says, yeah, I have no clue, but he has 30K followers. That's not bad. And they said Dervla says Tatiana follows him. Katie said, oh, good. Katie says, Zoe could get a Justin roundup, please. Zoe, yes. Katie K says, thank you. Brianna said, can we please separate by speculation coverage and stories that are pickup from Daily Mail piece regarding him being toxic and abusive on set? Zoe said, yes. Brianna said, can we please? Oh, it just repeats it again. Sometimes I feel like they're pulling the text messages incorrectly because sometimes you see these repetitions that I'm like, why are they repeating? Zoe sends a TikTok. It says calls out Justin for being an Israel supporter and says his entire brand is a farce and he's manipulative. And then I haven't seen any pickup off the Daily Mail article. Zoe has talks about a TikTok thing. TikTok about the Daily Mail article. She doesn't give an opinion, just summarizes the article. And she's like, thank you, please keep a sharp eye on this. And does this girl have a lot of followers? Katie wants to know. Carolina said we should save some of these newsy TikToks for the social outreach. Dervla, Zoe. Dervla said, oh yeah, I've been making a running list. I'll add them. Carolina said perf. Zoe said 4K. Her video has no real engagement yet. Katie says, thank God. Okay, thank you. And Zoe shares another TikTok. Zoe says overview of the situation, nothing new, but it's from a verified account, so thought I'd share. And then Zoe shared a comment from TikTok. Katie says, thank the Lord for social and digital mitigation, LOL. Zoe said, Colleen Hoover has gone private on TikTok. Not sure if that's important. Katie said, it's very important. Great scope. Zoe said, people who followed her before are saying she's deleting videos about the movie. Katie said, have they said which one specifically? Zoe said, no, I'm trying to figure that out right now. I'll let you know if I find anything. I wish I'd followed her. Katie said, I don't even have TikTok, so you're one step ahead of me. And Zoe shares a page 6 article. Katie says, need very close monitoring on this, please. Zoe, like that. Dervla, I do not like how low some of these airplanes fly above my head. It just feels like they're literally on top of me. Dervla sends a Perez Hilton article. Katie says, thank you. Zoe sends TikTok. And it says TikTok about the Daily Mail article says that the reason he was praising Blake was because he realized that this news was going to break and he had to do damage control. She predicts that his PR team is going to make him release a statement saying he was a method actor. Zoe sends another TikTok, says this is her response to someone commenting that it seems like a PR stunt from Blake and Ryan's team. She admits that it's definitely all alleged, and she can't wait to see what reputable sources cover it, and if Blake or Justin will speak on it. People are commenting saying they don't believe it, and it seems like a hit piece. No one believes it because it's Daily Mail. And then Zoe shares attachments, two attachments. Brianna said, "Thank you. Where are these from?" And Zoe goes, "TikTok. This is TikTok." She has 95,000 followers. The sentiment on TikTok is most people aren't believing it. There is a small percentage that think it's true if it's because he was method acting. Katie loved that. And Zoe shared on Spotify. And Zoe said, they talk about the controversy on this episode. Listening now. Claudia is questioning Justin. She is saying people are defending him because he is an advocate for women. But if he's such an advocate for women, why did every single woman on the cast unfollow him? And Zoe shares an X account and some other thing got redacted, and then a TikTok. And then Zoe says, this TikTok says that Justin hyping Colleen and Blake up is suspicious, wondering what he's hiding and saying. Shouldn't he want to direct the movie? The account has 50,000. Comments are all defending him. Katie said, okay, well, I went to college with Jackie, and let's just say oh, it's my word. I tell you, these PR folks are really vicious with each other. Okay, well, not that this is vicious. This is not vicious, but it just made me snicker still. She said, okay, well, I went to college with Jackie, and let's just say I do not take her word seriously as a journalist, LOL. Katie sends a redacted thing and loved the X post, and Dervla laughed about the Jackie comment. Zoe said, haha. And then Katie disliked the comment about that Justin's hyping Colleen and Blake up is suspicious. And Katie says, that's us, LOL. And oh my word. I'm sorry. That's what she says, that's us, LOL for? Because I remember in that favorite like thing that they were pushing out as like the proof of a smear campaign, that what was it called again, from Blake Lively's side of things? It was all of those articles, and then we actually read the articles and we're like, what are you talking about? That's not a smear campaign against Blake Lively. That's a smear campaign against Justin Baldoni. Just because you put a narrative around it, if you go to the actual like articles, that's not what you find. But one of the things they quote is Katie K saying, that's us, LOL. But they make it sound like it's about something else than what this text message is. Now, mind you, she could have said that's us, LOL, for multiple times, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's this text string, but I find that really interesting. Now, maybe what they're saying is that the people that comments that were defending, because what is Katie saying that's us, LOL for? What is that's us, LOL? Are they saying that what's them is the comments defending him? Because then again, people are like, is that astroturfing? If that's what they're talking about? What's your thoughts? Or is she saying, when she says that's us, LOL, what is she saying it to? Because it's one, two, three text messages away from the comments are all defending him. So I don't know if that's what it's talking about. For all we know, it could be the whole Katie Case thing that was redacted, that she was saying that's us all. That's us, LOL. Is it? Oh, Echo, you said I get the impression that Ryan doesn't like people who method act. I think I remember him making fun of people for it and trying to get them to break character. I forgot the name. Was it Denzel Washington? Because Denzel was not a fan of Ryan Reynolds and kind of put him in his place during an interview. Alex laughed at that's us, LOL. Zoe said people are bashing her on Reddit, saying her take always sucks. Zoe said, and yet again, I fell for it. And Katie said, LOL, we all do. Katie says, any pickup on the post story? Zoe said, I'll stop being naive eventually. Not yet. Monitoring closely. I'll send another round up by EOD. Now, if PR people, Wesley Snipes, okay, gotcha. If PR people say they still fall for it, then who are we to ever be so prideful to think we wouldn't fall for it again? I know we're all suspicious now. I know we don't trust people anymore. We don't trust anything that gets put out anymore because of everything that went down. But the fact that Zoe's like, I'll stop being naive eventually, not, you know, it's like I think it's hard to know. It's hard to know. So people are just on the defensive now. Everybody is just like, I don't trust any of y'all's. I don't trust any of y'all's for as far as I can throw you. I feel like you're in a sketchy. But at the same time, I think reading this PR stuff that the tag was doing, they is really regular. They really like Blake Lively really tried to make it sound sinister, but like this is really regular. And I'm telling you, Blake Lively's PR people thank their lucky stars that they are not sued to reveal all this. I mean, if I wish as the audience of this whole thing, I wish we could sue them to see their PR. I wish we could sue them to say you put PR on trial, we sue you to show us your PR conversations. Because if anything, like what Ryan Reynolds, the kind of vitriol that he was putting out there, it was shared. Like I can only imagine what kind of directives he was giving his PR. Is all I'm saying. Meanwhile, on the Wayfarer side, they're wondering why aren't we being utilized more? Why aren't they telling us to do something? So that says the difference in tactics, I guess. So he said, not yet, monitoring closely. I'll send another round up by EOD. Katie says, amazing, thank you. Zoe sends the sun. Katie says, thank you. Can you guys please keep a sharp eye on this? This is the kind of story we're worried about. Dervla liked that. Zoe liked that. Zoe also shared a Vox article, a Perez Hilton one. And she says, it took me years. Don't worry, LOL. And Zoe sends a TikTok one and says, the pop culture account with 90,000 followers mentions how TikTok has sided with Justin. And then Katie said, I love that. In fairness, though, she's like, wear florals to see a movie about domestic violence. Face palm emoji. She's like, and Zoe's like, she's like, grab your girlfriends and put on your cutest dress. This movie is not giving girls' night out to me. And the cross promotion with her new hair care brand is tone deaf as well. And Katie emphasized that. And Katie's like, correct. Even if we weren't on her side, I'd like sis. What do you mean? Correct. Even if we weren't on her side. Are you not on her side? I'd like sis. Even if we weren't, are you not? Not? Are you saying you are on her side? What does that mean? Jungle said, we've heard so much from Wayfarer PR, copious texts. Where are the PR texts between Leslie's team and Blake's? Well, there's no read. I mean, there's no reason. There's no reason because they never sued for that aspect of things. Because defamation, I mean, like they weren't about to put PR on trial the way that Blake Lively wanted to, you know? Zoe said, I'm just confused. Who's advising her? Because it doesn't take a genius to know that it's a bad look. That is what I'm wondering. That is genuinely what I am wondering. Like who is advising her? To this day, I think they hate her. Somebody on her team hates her. Or actually, no, that's not it. Sony said she doesn't listen to anybody. Sony said her problem was she didn't listen to anybody. So it's actually not because I realize now, no. It's not because she's being advised wrong. She's not listening to the people who are advising her. Sony said no matter what, she would not listen to them. So it really is about her stubbornness, or maybe Ryan's, who knows. Katie emphasized that. Zoe sends something else. Dervla sends a YouTube and another YouTube, and that's it. That one was an actual good read. I like that one. Okay, y'all, it's so sad how little I've moved on this. No wonder we had a 6 hour one last time because, frankly, at the rate that I'm going, okay, August 17th is going to be Brianna Coslow. Okay, August 17th. Insert. And 18. All right. Yeah, because you know what? I think Justin wanted to be kind. Um, wanted to be kind Ekala around BL and CH until BL like then there was a point where he's like, I don't want anything nice about her going out. Like not mean things, but he didn't want the words he had said that was positive about her to be like the one that they used. They're like, why? He's like, why? At that point, I think he just got hurt at that point. It's like I did my like he wasn't gonna put anything negative out. He wasn't gonna put mean words out, but he just didn't want the one where he was flowery and said all these kind things about her. There was a point in time that I think he hit the wall and said, "Why are we going to use one where I'm saying all this positive things about her?" I think he didn't. I do think there was a point where he just was too hurt by her that he's like, I don't even want that out there. Not he wasn't going to put mean things. He wasn't going to say um he wasn't going to say that stuff, but like he also just didn't want the other things. I think too. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into one of the texts that he sent. So Jen says this. Okay, this is August 17th. She says, guys, any issue with this caption that GB wants to post with his video for the after party with his family and friends? The vid is fine, but I'm on the fence with this caption. I've spent most of my life living in both the past and the future, somehow completely missing the present. In our culture, we're often pushed to live anywhere but in the now, caught up in a nonstop hustle to make it, to survive, to keep thinking about what's next. Because of this, I've often missed the joy that comes from simply celebrating the completion of something meaningful. The night of the premiere for It Ends With Us, my family at Wayfarer threw the most beautiful celebration of love to honor the years of work it took to birth. I'm sorry he used birth this film. Oh no, Blake Lively. Blake Lively, he said birth this film. Oh no. And he was talking about himself and the people who worked. Oh no. You know, that's when you knew she had literally lost the plot. When she tried to make saying birth into this film an SH claim, a connotation of SH. I'm like, you've seriously you have lost the plot, Blake Lively. If you're trying to push on us that Jamie Heath saying birth into this film is like SH. You're off your rocker at this point. You don't even know how to write then. Okay, so to honor the years of work it took to birth this film into the world. There was so much love and joy in that room, and I will forever be grateful to my friends, family, co-workers, writers, crew members, producers, and cast who brought this film to life. It's their passion and dedication that made this possible, and it's in moments like these that I'm reminded of the power of being fully present. They say every movie is a miracle. I truly believe this one is. It's a testament to what can be achieved when we come together with a shared vision, when we create art that doesn't just seek material success, but strives to call attention to an issue that for too long has been silenced and overlooked. It's a reminder that art has the power to change lives and that just a little bit of light can pierce through the deepest shadows and bring light to the most hidden corners of our society, revealing what had been overlooked and giving voice to those who had been silenced. Where there is love, nothing is too much trouble, and there is always time. Abdul Baha. And Jen said, let me know. Melissa Nathan said, it's a solid no from me. This looks like he's making a statement when no one else is talking. Jen said, yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Melissa said, it looks weird. Brianna said, and way too many words that people can twist and turn. Melissa said way too many. I know what I was saying the other day on the phone about we are playing in a different arena here. We are. There is plenty of time for him to write this after a party. Is not the time. Jen said, what if he just posted the video with family in the party and just says thank you in the caption? Melissa Nathan's like, quote unquote, Baldoni speaks out. And Melissa said, that's exactly it. Jen said, or are you saying nothing at all? No video. And Melissa Nathan says, thank you. Nothing else. Jen says, that's what I think. Just forwarded this. So sick of this. So there's another email from Daily Mail saying that they wanted to, says, hello, I'm a reporter for Daily Mail. We're running a story about tension on the set of It Ends With Us, especially between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. We have a source from on set that has told us they were both difficult to work with and specifically called Justin a performative feminist. Do you wish to make a comment, or is there anything you'd like us to know to grasp a better understanding of the dynamic? And Melissa says, it's just making it up now. Never heard of this person. Jen sends a Daily Mail article, and Melissa says, what is good about this is that the majority of this leads with her. And Jen said, yeah, and reads ridiculous. Melissa says, and then you really have to go all the way to the bottom to read about his eye infection. Jen says, the sty on his eye, like what? The most of the VFX budget was used on? Melissa said the budget. I don't know what you I don't know why I find that funny, but I guess she's trying to say that that's how poor the VFX would have been to fix it. Matthew Mitchell, quote unquote, she was so effortlessly rude. Matthew said, this is the Daily Mail trying to keep clicks coming. It's so insane. Whoever wrote it also doesn't realize this isn't cosplay for Justin. Trash writing here for sure. Jen said, so this girl's claiming that Justin invited her up to his hotel room years ago. I didn't want to share the vid, but Mitz did a screen record, and this is her account, so you guys can look at it. Part of me wants Will, his former assistant, to comment and say this never happened. Ridiculous. And Matthew said, this account is a mess. Someone calls her drunk, and she admits she is. Will's last name isn't not even something break, so her reliability is not great. Brianna said, let us chat to Jed as well on this. Interesting that when Blake Lively's team quoted these text messages, they quoted the one from Jen saying this, and they quoted Brianna saying, let us chat to Jed as well on this, but they did not put Matthew Mitchell's statement that said this account is a mess. Someone calls her drunk and she admits she is. Will's last name isn't not even something break. So her reliability is not great. So interesting how they actively removed a comment that would have put that person into question fully. And I think they wanted to make it seem like, oh, these people just didn't want to believe this person, instead of the fact that there was like real warning signs. Jen says, thanks. And then Brianna said, positive videos being boosted. The crazy Charlotte gal team said it actually works in our favor to have negative comments below post. Already now she's getting slammed. So they'll work with that to elevate how ridiculous false story is while keeping watch to make sure it doesn't spiral more. And then, okay, what is the crazy Charlotte gal? Who's the crazy Charlotte gal? Does anybody know? Who's the crazy Charlotte gal? I don't know who that is. No, because the hotel room person didn't happen until February, right? I feel like, or I don't know if it was February. It was sometime after Another Simple Favor happened. So I don't think it's her. Okay, so man, these have been really interesting. Okay, this one probably has nothing that we can look at. I didn't think so. I'm sorry if you can hear a lot of sounds outside. My mother is talking to somebody because we have a bunch of guests. Well, not a bunch of guests. We have a couple that was a guest. Okay, so this is 8:13. Let's see how much I can get done. I'm at 157. There's no way I'm going to get to 180, but let's see. 1245, 157. And that's a text. Okay, Sarah says sending copy now. And Sarah says Blake Lively made final. Oh, I'm not going to read this whole thing. So she sends a text message to Jennifer Abel about the article she was writing. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm sorry. It's an article that she already wrote. And so basically, just to let you know, I didn't put this on the live because it was after we did our lives. And then I did some work separately where I didn't go live to show it. But Sarah Nathan shows the article to Leslie and then shows the article to to Jen, because they're both PR people. So they have to give their insight on it. So it's not only Sarah Nathan. So I just want to make it clear that I already saw the one that she sent to Leslie. So in case people think that she only reached out to Jen Abel, that is not the case. She reached out to Leslie, and Leslie saw the article. And Leslie's like, I hate it. I hate it. Why do you have to put that out there? Jungle said the last paragraph, the one that says, in a recent interview with UK's hit radio. Is this what you're talking about? In a recent interview with UK's Hits Radio, Lively admitted, I'm not supposed to be talking about this, but she explained that they begged me to remove Lana Del Rey's song Cherry from the film. Baldoni bought the rights to the book via his production company Wayfarer back in 2019. This includes the rights to the sequel. It starts with us. The movie has thrived at the box office, making $50 million and on its opening weekend. However, the Jane the Virgin star has admitted he may not return for a sequel. It's yet to be greenlit. I think they are better people for that one. Baldoni told Entertainment Tonight. I think Blake Lively is ready to direct. That's what I think. And then Jen liked that, but she says can't say sources close to Baldoni. Can we say sources close to production with knowledge of the situation? And she says perfect. And then Jen said, and his comment about Blake directing was not about him not returning for the sequel. He was trying to lift her up and give her credit that she's ready to direct. Can't have it seem like he's stepping off that film. And Sarah said, okay, we'll amend it. Jennifer said, Jamie Heath, CEO of Wayfarer, corrected that with Belloni. It posted last night, just FYI. Sarah said, fab, okay. However, when asked about returning to direct potential sequel, the Jane the Virgin star said, I think there are better people for that one. He told Entertainment Tonight, I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think. And Jen liked that. And they said they may put feminine in the headline. I can't stop the editor, but the copy is all good. Bleh. Okay, so it's the same. So she said the same thing with Sarah. I mean, Sarah said the same thing with Leslie, where she says, I can't make them change the headline. But instead of saying the whole feminine in the headline, she said that I can't take off. Like what Leslie wanted her to take off was the adjective. I think it was like intense feud or something like that. And she's like, can you please take that out? And then so she's like, well, we can change it to this other word. And she goes, I still don't like it. And then she's like, I can't get them to remove that. They said it has to have an adjective. And so then they were trying to work out what kind of adjective that they could use to keep it, because that's the only thing that the editor was willing to like mess with. They wanted to keep the rest of like the headline. And both, the funny thing is both Jen and Leslie were like, oh, this is not true. They both like were upset with the presentation. So on a positive side, I guess Sarah didn't make either of them very happy, because both of them felt like at least some piece of it was inaccurate, or like not the narrative that they were really wanting out there. And so Leslie felt that way as well as Jen. They both felt that way. So this article made no one happy, is all I will say. Jen said, ugh, it's not true. So it pains me that's the lead here. Sarah said, it's not the intro, and I will ask what her plans are, just cautioning. Sarah said, we'll keep you in the loop. And then she makes a crying emoji. Okay. Katie Case is the next one. I'll keep looking at the time to see how much time I have with y'all's. Um, um, I might. I'm gonna stay 3:15 until 3:15 my time, because then that gives me enough time to go over there to watch the game. Okay. Oh, this is 109 messages. This might be the final one if it's 109 messages. Um, let's see what it says. Justin Baldoni. Oh, it's one of the few times that Justin Baldoni is allowed to know anything. It's funny because they do keep him off a lot of these conversations. I think because he's naturally anxious as a person, and probably they didn't want to like worry his mind. Justin sends a TikTok. Jen, let's figure out these theater visits for tomorrow or Saturday or both. Maybe we do a bunch. And Jen liked that. She says on it. Justin said, let's do it without Sony, just on our own. And Jen said, yep, that's my thinking too. And then Justin sends, aw, this breaks my heart. He says, just wanted to share this with you for all from July. This was how Isabela Ferrer thanked me. Now she won't say my name. I hope you read this text message, Isabela. I hope you read it and you feel bad because you really got played by Blake Lively. You got played like a violin is what we're going to say, not a fiddle, because we're we're going to use the violin as the theme of the next album, Tiny Violins, because Isabela, I am so disappointed in you. And Justin Baldoni put such a comfortable, safe space. He quoted her. And she goes, and have a ton of fun bro friend texts with me and Brandon, having a bromance for a year and then nothing. And he goes, tag, this one is for you, LOL, and sent a TikTok. And Jen said, this is incredible. And Matthew Mitchell said, genius, OMG, Melissa, Brianna, and Katie, you did a great job with this creator. And they are laughing. Okay, so don't take it seriously. They're making fun of it. They're making fun. They're not admitting to using creators. It's literally, these emojis is laughing. I hope people know this because my word, it's obviously a joke. I don't even speak emoji and know that that is a joke. So I don't want anybody to get all twisted up. Jen goes, wow. And Melissa says, checking my room for cameras. Justin said, in other news, Ryan unblocked me and Emily so he could spy on us. She had a feeling and checked and she could see his name. And then I checked and I could search him as well. I couldn't search him a week ago. That is kind of interesting because I want to see what Ryan Reynolds was saying right before he unblocked him. Jen says, interesting. Justin said, Jamie, please put the text here and not email. Jamie said, I am deeply sorry to hear about the pain you're experiencing. Feeling alone on an island is just terrible. I want you to know with all sincerity that my team hasn't engaged in anything that would harm you, and they have not contributed to any negative articles. My heart breaks when I think about the distance that has grown between us, especially when I've always valued our collaboration, friendship so deeply. I don't think we need the following paragraph at all, as there is no need to make this about you right now. We shouldn't ask for sympathy at this moment. I want to share how difficult it has been for me too, especially when the film, which I poured so much of my heart into, was taken out of my hands. I remained silent as fans began to wonder why I wasn't part of the press or even the photos of the premiere. Being uninvited from Book Bonanza without any explanation left me feeling lost and hurt, not being allowed to share the premiere with you and instead waiting in a basement until I was escorted to a separate theater with my friends and family who had come to celebrate was incredibly painful. Still, I did so out of respect for the movie and not wanting to derail the celebration of it. I know a lot has happened since we first worked on the script together, and you feel as though you weren't included before the quote-unquote fan reading. As an effort to remind you, we sent you the script beforehand in July of 2022, where you responded with such positivity, noting how pleased you were that it stayed true to the book, and you even shared your notes with me. I'm happy to share those screenshots if you'd like. Regarding the documentary, I want you to know that while we may have tried to ease some of your concerns regarding being on camera, we always intended to respect your wishes, which is why we never moved forward. It was only on it was only an idea meant to bring fans closer to a story that means so much to so many. Regarding the coffee book donation, legally, Wayfair couldn't donate the 1% of your on your behalf as you graciously requested. It wasn't a demand from us, but a legal requirement we were asked to relay. As for the tattoo, I'm so glad you pointed out the importance of it to the fans and the DV community while we were early in the edit. We were more than happy to change it in post, and the film is better for it. I'm grateful for your insight. I completely own that I vented about many things regarding production and the post process, and I can fully understand how that could have been a load too heavy to carry. Please know that my door is always open to you. I truly hope we can talk and rebuild our friendship. This isn't about any quote unquote image for me. It's about reconnecting with someone I care about deeply. I hope this might be a step towards healing and celebrating this film together. And Justin says, can I say yes? Maybe Jen can reach out. And Jen said, I can reach out. Do you want to respond and say your team will be reaching out, or give my email? Flagging that Alex reposted your post, JB. Oh, that's nice, Alex. That's nice. But then Justin says good for her. Okay, I think Justin was a little hurt at that point. I understand. Good for her. Jen says, LOL. I like this era of Justin. Justin said, what are your thoughts? What are our thoughts on James' text? Justin's updated. You're experiencing. Okay, I'm not going to reread. Well, maybe I'll still. I'm just going to move past. Should I just read it? How much of a difference is there? You know what? I'm going to leave it here for a moment. And that you can pause to read that if you're doing a rewatch of this, and then pause to read that, because I don't know if I want to read all that again, because it's pretty much what I read. I think slight differences, maybe. Jen said, I have a couple of revisions, if that's okay. And he says, yes. Jen says, I think you can tone it down just a bit. Give me a sec. And then I'm not going to read this either, because Jen accidentally sends exactly the same post by Justin, which she did not mean to do. And then Jamie said, made 2 quick changes. Okay, you can also pause and read this stuff. Pause and read. Jamie said, otherwise it's all good. Let's send it. Or should we send it to the bank clerk to get his thoughts also? You know what? There was a text message. Can somebody remind me when the conversation was being had between Colleen Hoover? I think it was between Colleen Hoover and Blake Lively, where they were talking about how many people influenced what Justin wrote. Or was that with Taylor Swift? Because if it was with Colleen Hoover, and if it was in August, that would mean that Stephanie Jones was already funneling messages before she even took away Jen Abel's phone. I gotta find that, because I do find it interesting. I feel like they said this I feel like they said it maybe August 10th. So this is August 16th. So maybe there were other texts where they did stuff. I don't know. Anyways. Jen said, who is the bank clerk? LOL. Matthew says, no, I can't risk him leaking it. Jamie's like, ha, ha, ha. Justin says, reading now. Justin says, okay, so you feel I should say that last bit about talking on the phone? Jen said, I added that because I felt that it was a genuine want to reconnect, that you would ask to speak on the phone. I don't think that would hurt. If she's in a place that she wants to resolve things and this was her way of reaching out, then she would say yes. I think her response will be telling. And Justin liked that. He goes, okay, here we go. Jamie says, do it. And Justin said, sent. And then Jamie says, check TMZ every 30 seconds. And Chen disliked that. And Matthew said, stop. This was a good step, an olive branch of sorts. Try not to let this consume you. You put the energy into a thoughtful and genuine reply. Take a moment to breathe and take comfort knowing you lead with your heart, and these actions are where you've taken the highest of high roads. Thanks, Michelle. In an effort to truly put the message and work of this film first, and for those it's helping. And Justin loved that. And Justin says, Matthew, I love when you are deep and sincere. I'm sorry. He's just endearing because, I don't know, it's just like his depositions. And it reminds me of actually his text message to Blake Lively when he's like, oh, I like sentimental Blake. I like sentimental Blake. Justin sends TikTok. He goes, last one night. So Justin said, I did mistype and say, read the script, but I meant I wasn't allowed to discuss the script when we sat with readers or speak in the meeting about the script. You asked me not to say anything. I'm aware I read the script. I'm not saying I had a problem with it. I don't need proof of me saying I liked it. I did love the script and I love the movie and I'll support it always. Oh, really? You'll support it always, Colleen? Because you said now you're ashamed of it. Now you said you're ashamed of it. You don't even want to be associated with it. I'll always support it. I think you guys did a fantastic job making this film, and I love Blake's edits also. I'll never say otherwise and spoke so highly of everyone on my press tour, even though the media wants to spread that you weren't mentioned. I sang everyone's praises. Okay, yeah, I agree with her. She did say positive things about Justin on the press tour. So she only did it, though, without Blake Lively right next to her, and I found that very convenient for Colleen Hoover. She said nothing when she was with Blake Lively. When she was privately on her own individual interview, then she was more than happy to talk about Justin Baldoni. So she's not lying there. She did talk about him in the absence of Blake Lively. My issues lie in things I've learned since then and experiences. See, my issues lie in things I've learned since then because of Blake Lively. Because Blake Lively fed you a bunch of hooey, a bunch of lies, and you lapped it up as poor Blake. I mean, poor Colleen Hoover. You know what? Y'all got played. You just got played. You got played. My issues lies in things I've learned since then and experiences I personally had with you. And I'm not going to go back and forth on this stuff about that's written in a way that will protect you if it gets leaked. I also have screenshots I can share with you as you offered above, like the ones where I simply asked about that tattoo and you blamed it on Blake more than once. Colleen, he showed us those texts. That's not going to look bad on him. I don't know why you think that's going to look bad on him. Because when you know it's true. Why is that going to look bad on him? You're silly. That's silly. I know that Blake is not to blame for the tattoo. And the point I was making is that twice I was lied to about that in a text and what I felt like it was an attempt to get me to dislike her. You think he was lying to you? That she's the one who messed up the tattoo? Oh, see, I'm telling you, everything that Colleen got mad about Justin about was lies that Blake Lively told her. The things that Isabela said in her deposition she was mad about were lies that Blake Lively told her. The things that Brandon Sklenar was mad about were lies that Blake Lively told him. They got played like ridiculous amounts. Oh my word. She really does triangulate. Her triangulation is wild. That's really, really wild. What a master manipulator. I would never trust. Okay, I've said this many times, but if you told me you're going to stick me in a room with Justin Baldoni alone or Blake Lively alone or Ryan Reynolds alone, leave me in a room with Justin Baldoni alone any day. Any stinking day. And anybody who says that they believe Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and I say, be in a room alone with these folks, let them and trust that they will tell the truth about you and what happened in the room when you were alone together. And I will tell you, I don't think even the ones that say they believe Blake Lively and believe Ryan Reynolds, there's going to be a part of them that always worries after seeing the junk that she fed these people. She fed them so many lies. It is. I had imagined that this is what she did. I imagined it, but to actually see it, to be worse than my own imagination. I didn't even think my imagination could be beat. But that is how bad, that is how deep her level of lying was. That is so wild to me. It is so wild to me that even in my worst imagination of what kind of lies Blake Lively would have spewed out to them, I never realized to the magnitude that she actually chose to do it. And when she said that she had turned the cast briefly against Penn Badgley back in the Gossip Girls days, in my head, I was like, that's silly. I'm sure she was joking. I mean, I never verbalized it before, but I really was very flippant about it when I heard about it, because I'm sure she was just joking. Seeing what she did with Brandon, Colleen, Isabela, we haven't seen it with Alex, but we've seen the text mess. We've seen it with Taylor, potentially, even though Taylor really, I don't know what I feel about some of the things for Taylor, but it is very clear she manipulated these folks by telling them lies, because everything that they mentioned that they're upset about were not true. But Blake Lively made them think it's true. That is the wildest. I hope their eyes are opened. I hope they read all these text messages. I hope that Blake Lively finally owns up to all the lies she told. Let's say even if let's just pretend that everything she claimed about SH was true. Let's just claim. It still would not explain all these active lies, because she wasn't here talking about SH with them. She was lying to them about specific things that would upset them. It's the tactic she uses. She uses love bombing, right, to make you feel like she loves you. And then she uses things that you tell her in confidence to then manipulate you to feel particular things. And I think she learned that from Ryan Reynolds, and maybe, I don't know, maybe Taylor Swift too. I have no idea. But we certainly have seen that with Ryan Reynolds in some of his text messages. So I find it very interesting. I can't believe this. She literally thought that he was lying about the tattoo when he showed her the tattoo that he had wanted to actually originally put in before Blake changed it. But you call it venting. So we do disagree there. I'm walking away from this for a few months. I don't have a PR team and I have no idea how to respond to this. No one from either studio has advised me how to navigate what is happening the last couple of days. I hope Wayfair or Sony at least reach out and offer some support to Isabela and Alex. They're very new to this, and I'm worried about them if they're also not being reached out to with advice or resources. Surely there's some kind of therapist referral list that can be provided to them if one hasn't been already. All of us, I feel like we can agree to disagree on our experiences. I don't see a relationship in the future, as I don't think I can trust anyone from this process to be a part of my life, but I wish no one ill will. Onward. Well, you shouldn't trust Blake and Ryan again, but I have a feeling based off of your text messages that you were still believing them. You were still lapping up what they were giving you. And Justin says, okay, I'm writing this out to get it out of my system. I'm not sending it. Okay. All right, Justin, let's hear it. What did you need to get out of your system that you weren't going to send Colleen? What did you need to say? Okay, let's see it. I'm sorry to hear this. I'm sorry. His first line is, I'm sorry to hear. Oh, he's too pure. He's too pure because what? I'm ready for like, you know what? You know? And he starts off with, I'm sorry to hear this. Oh. I mean, I'm sure he believes, I mean, that's what he feels, but it's so funny that that's what he really says. I'm sorry to hear this, but I need to express how I feel. Why didn't you come to me if something bothered you? We had open communication and a friendship. Oh my word, this is hurting. Oh my word. I'm gonna cry. That is really messed up. Oh my word. Oh my stinking word. This might be hard to read. You knew the effort and sacrifices that went into this film from the beginning, and you were always included. Your thoughts and opinions were always respected. So I don't understand why you wouldn't have just talked to me. I didn't lie to you about the tattoo. Though in hindsight, I shouldn't have blamed Blake. I was upset that she didn't read the book, amongst many other things. After your text, I revisited the original designs of the hollowed heart, and you're right. Blake wasn't to blame. Okay, so that was my mistake. Okay. The original design missed the opening in the middle, and Blake had commissioned a tattoo artist to design it to her liking without even consulting me. I assumed the first design had the opening, but I realized that was a detail I missed in the chaos. I understand why you felt deceived, but it wasn't my intention. I was pissed at her and venting, which was the first time I did that with you. And if you felt uncomfortable, I wish you would have told me. I would have apologized immediately. The last time we spoke, you complimented me and expressed your gratitude for my efforts to honor the book. Then suddenly you disappeared. And I learned from the studio that you would only promote Blake's cut of the movie. I was forced to step down and let her finish the film, even though it performed worse. You cut off all communication and followed me along with the rest of the cast. I was devastated. Oh my word. At that dinner, I told you everything that happened, including my mistakes. I don't know what was said behind the scenes, but this entire situation could have been avoided if we had communicated like mature adults. I have not engaged in any PR to harm anyone. Instead, I was isolated. Excluded from the process and treated like an outcast. I had to do all the press on my own, and I wasn't even invited to my own premiere. When I did attend, I was relegated to a basement with my family and friends, separated from everyone else and told to leave early, and that we could not attend our own after party. I don't know what terrible things you heard about me that could be deserving of your actions. But all I can say is that what you all did was heartbreak, and it deeply affected my life and family. This wasn't just about the film, it was a betrayal of our friendship. And to be okay with Blake and Ryan run a smear campaign against me and leak their grievances to the press after taking over the film and excluding me from the press and premiere, when all of this could have just been handled like mature adults, makes it even more heartbreaking. But yes, onward. And you know what? He never sent it. So this is the man whose heart just got broken, and he's like, you know what? I have some thoughts that I want to say to Colleen, but I'm not going to send it. I'm not going to send it to Colleen, but this is what I need to say. And that's what he needed to say. That's what he needed to say. He probably okay. It got printed up three different times. That's some. Oh, y'all's. That's when that to me, it says it all to me. Just the amount of lies. Just the amount of lies that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds did. He never sent that to Colleen. And that, that's when you know he's telling the truth. That's when you know he's telling the truth, because that's what I would do. But the thing is, that's how good of a person he remains to be, because I would not have started with, I'm sorry to hear that. Mine might have been was, first of all, that's a lie. And that's a lie. And that's a lie. That would have been my first response. First of all. I hope Colleen Hoover read this. I want to send her just this snippet and say, Colleen, you read this. I actually want to put I'm gonna put that. What is this? I'm gonna put that as a story. I'm just gonna say, Colleen, he never sent this to you, but you better read it. If I'm gonna cry, you better cry. Because what in the world? How did you do this to why did you do this? For what? For those people? For those people that would use you and throw you away like you're nothing? That's you did that for what? You did that for what? Okay, I'm sorry. I have to share this on TikTok because, like, what in the what? I'm so disgusted, y'all. So disgusted. And I'm like, are Ryan and Blake never going to be held accountable for what they did? Will they never? Will they never be held accountable? They literally tried to ruin this man's life. I hope she knows. When people write something that they don't even send you, and that is very much the heart of Justin Baldoni. Like, I don't know Justin, but from everything that we've seen from him, and this is the reason why I said in my happy birthday greeting to him yesterday that his character showed through this whole thing. And so did Blake and Ryan's. And this is the reason why people support Justin. Because Blake and Ryan are a bunch of liars. They may have convinced themselves they were telling the truth. They may have convinced themselves they were telling the truth. But there's no freaking way they were telling the truth. Based off of not just my feelings, not just my whatever, literally from things outside of Blake and Ryan. That proved that the things that they were trying to peddle were never true. Justin says, good morning. Morning, congrats on crossing 100 mil. Brianna Butler said, congratulations. This is the type of detail we focus on to start driving toward a more positive narrative. Justin says, hi, all, can we talk? Jen said, I think Melissa's on a plane heading back to the States, but I'll let the team chime in here. I'm available until 1 p.m. Justin says, okay, can we all hop on a Zoom now? Jen said, yes, tag. Jamie says, I can. Katie says, hi, all. This afternoon is a little dicey scheduling-wise. Melissa's on a plane at the moment. Brie and I are currently on a call, but can connect between 2:30 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if that works. Jen said, so in 30 minutes, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, does that work for all? Justin says, yes. Jamie says, yes. Katie says, okay, great. I'll send an invite and Zoom for now for use. Speak soon. Jen says, thanks, Casey. And Matthew loves a comment. And Katie says, of course, Zoom link is here for us. Justin sends a video. And Justin says, Jennifer and Matthew, hi, Justin, congrats on the opening of It Ends With Us. I've been traveling the last week, but look forward to seeing it in the theater this week. The issue of domestic violence is very important to me. I've served on the board of Tubman, the largest domestic violence agency in Minnesota, for over 15 years. The staff, led by my friend Jen Polzin, is doing life-saving work in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I have a request and an opportunity. My Talk 107.1 is one of the radio stations I run in MSP. It's a talk radio station aimed at women. While the radio station is typically pop culture and entertainment based, it has a long history of taking on tough issues that are important to women. In the past, My Talk 107.1 has been nationally recognized for our honest conversations and building awareness about issues like bullying, suicide, sexual harassment, and transgender rights. It Ends With Us is creating a lot of talk. We would like to use the movie as the catalyst for a roundtable discussion about domestic violence. The roundtable will be hosted by My Talk host Colleen Lindstrom, who has won national AWM Gracie Awards for her work in public affairs. The roundtable will also feature experts from Tubman. The idea is a 1-hour live roundtable during afternoon drive on the radio that will also be available on demand as a podcast and YouTube video. We would love you to join. We would love you to join us. I know your heart and I know how important it is to you that this movie be used to affect change. We want to use your work to spark a conversation about domestic violence, an issue that is often hard to talk about. I can promise you our staff and Tubman will remain solely focused on the issue of domestic violence. We don't have a time or date, but we feel like the window is the next 7 to 10 days to direct the conversations about this movie to what is truly important, ending domestic violence. Your role can be seen as simple as a 5 to 10 minute introduction to set the table for the conversation, or you can join us for the entire segment. Here's a link to Tubman. And then there's the home. Thank you, Justin. And Jen says, great. Can you share her email or share ours? Jen said, would it be good to do this with Jane at No More? Justin said, he's emailing you now. I trust him. He put Zach Sobiech on the radio and helped his song go viral. That's how I found Zach. Not a huge outlet, but meaningful. And Jen said, I'm from Minnesota. I'm definitely familiar. Jamie said, okay, here's my thoughts on the video. Can we tweak a thing or two? Sure. Might he mention something more directly about the kids? Maybe. Might he also be more specific about the way we made this to protect harm? And we shouldn't be harming real life casts, maybe. However, with that said, this is what people want. This is Justin. Put this out or a version of this out. No surprises. These are my thoughts. The pluses outweighs the minuses. Jen says we have thoughts as well. Give us some time to work through this and we will come back. Just FYI. And then Jen put a TMZ link. Justin said, is this true? What a random article. She just wanted the internet to cancel me instead. And then updated headline, Blake has no plans to publicly address the feud she hoped fans would address for her. Oh, look at you, Justin. You have a little bit of zinger. That's a zinger, but also accurate. This is something I have been on record. Blake Lively intentionally wanted the internet to do the work for her. She genuinely thought if we get the cast to unfollow him, if we do a whisper campaign, then everybody's going to turn on him. That was her plan. It did not work. Katie K sends an EW link, another interesting one, and Justin says full damage control. I wonder if another source can say that the reason we have an August release was because she refused to promote the movie and insisted on infringing on the director's editorial rights. And Brianna said, this looks crazy. Everyone is saying she needs to just stop all of these stories and backtracking. And Katie emphasized that. And Matthew said, what's that, Michelle? Oh, right. They go low, we go high. Good energies and positivity will set us free. Your faith and profound belief have helped you rise above the chatter, and we have to keep you there. Brianna said, I don't understand if they're forcing Leslie's hand or if Leslie actually thinks there's any strategies to this. I feel it's the first. Katie says, emphasize. Jen says, updated suggested script. We just spoke to Jamie, and he has a few thoughts on a potential reposition. We will stand by as you guys workshop further. In the meantime, I encourage everyone to read that TMZ article. It's very strategic in our opinion. The quotes about the entire cast standing by her to create further divide. For the video, it was also a little too slow. I think you can still be thoughtful but mindful of the pacing to ensure people listen to the whole thing, and also media when pulling quotes. Hey everyone, I just want to make a video. I'm not going to ignore what's happening. It's been a crazy week and a half, and I'm so honored we are all here at Wayfarer, that the film that we have poured our lives into is being so well received all over the world. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's gone to see this movie. To all people who have gone to see the movie, thank you. Thank you for showing up. We would not be here if it weren't for Colleen, who trusted us with her story, and for our partners at No More, who put so much time into guiding us. I underestimated how prevalent this issue is, and I especially want to say thank you to all of you who are coming out and sharing your stories. This is why we made the movie. That's it. I always said if there was just one person who saw the film, read the story, and felt brave enough to leave their abusive relationship, it would have been worth it. And to those who have sent messages, left comments, DMs, everything, I can't even begin to tell you how much this has touched me and our team. Thank you. But with that, I just want to remind everyone that's what we should be focused on. The bravery, the strength, the education, the resources. That's what this is all about. The noise is starting to overpower the message, and I want to urge all of us to refocus on the issue. Without the people in this film, the entire cast, the crew, everyone involved, none of this would be possible. Everyone deserves to be celebrated right now. That's all I wanted to say. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Go see the film if you haven't already, and remember to lead with kindness. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. All right, that's as far as I can go. I am already, I'm still okay. I'm still okay for my Seahawks game. That was a lot. That was a lot emotionally for me to see what Justin Baldoni had wanted to send to Colleen Hoover and decided not to. I know the reason why they refrained, because Blake Lively would had a conniption because she was reading these text messages, and she was definitely guiding Colleen Hoover at that time. And so if not her, Ryan, or her and Ryan. So I'm glad that he didn't send it to her, but I'm also glad he didn't send it to her so we could see his unfiltered thoughts. And it is wild to me that his unfiltered thoughts were just of hurt and pain. And I understand he didn't send it because she was in the middle of her hurt and pain, self-inflicted, mind you, self-inflicted because she chose to believe Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. But at the same time, Echola said, did that last message sound familiar to the Brandon message? The lead with kindness is the only thing that made me think of Brandon, because he said lead with kindness. But actually, you know what? There are certain aspects. You're right. There are certain aspects that he said that also matches with it. There are some pieces of it that sounds like the Brandon thing. Now, the Brandon one went out on the 20th of August. With that said, I better go. Thank you so much for those who have been able to spend almost 2 hours with me today. Actually, you probably spent more than that if you were in my earlier live. That was like not as, like, I didn't expect very many people to go to that, because that was about putting songs together, which is an acquired taste for folks who might not be be here for that, even if it is Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively associated. But anyways, have a good day. I might come back later tonight. I don't know. It depends on how well the Seahawks do tonight and how long this game goes. Okay, bye.